What is up, guys? I'm back for another video. As you can see, I'm back in my place, in my apartment, and yeah, this one's going to be another video lesson of my Music Theory 101 series. This time I'm going to be talking about the major scale modes and just kind of showing you guys how to understand it and how to just apply it the right way. And this one's going to be a little bit extensive, I believe, as I'm going to be approaching it from a different standpoint and not looking at it as it's something new, because it's actually not something new. It's actually something that we already know. So if you already know the major scale, you basically know all of the major scale modes. And what I mean by that is that if you know the major scale, the classic C major scale, you have C major, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, G Mixolydian, A Aeolian, and B Locrian. So before we keep going on with this video, I'm going to play something. You know the drill. Comment down below what you think it is, and you'll find out the answer later on the video. So I'm going to play a chord. Pause the video if you have to, so you guys can see what's going on here, and comment what you think, and I'll see you later on, or you'll see the answer and me later on. Let's get into that. So I have 7 modes with that one scale. So if you play C major, you have those 7 different scales. And what actually makes that sound is the harmony. So I'm going to put all of these scales over here so you guys can see the differences of what they are and how they're built. What's happening here is that all of these notes mean something different to the harmony that's going on beneath them. And what I mean by that is that all of these notes, while being the same notes, are something different and mean something different to each and every one of the roots in those scales. So you can actually kind of summarize this by kind of understanding that the modes are not just the scale. The modes are the scale plus the harmony and what's going on beneath them. So it's basically just a fusion of these two things, the harmony and the melody. That's what makes up the sound of the modes that you want to hear. So let's go into a quick example here. So I'm going to play the C major scale, and then I'm going to be playing the C Lydian over a C chord, so you guys can kind of hear the difference between these and kind of hear what's going on between them. And then I'm going to play the C Lydian with a C Lydian chord, so you guys can kind of hear how that sounds. So let's go to that. C major chord. Right, so if we play Lydian, so you can see that we kind of get that sound, but not that much. So let's change that chord to kind of get the Lydian sound. We're going to change the 5th note, which would be the G, for the F sharp. So we have that sharp 11 there in that chord. So as you can see, you can get that Lydian sound right there, and it's pretty evident that you're not playing over a C major chord, and it's pretty evident that you're playing modally right there. So hopefully you guys can see how that kind of mashes up in there. So let's take a look at the other modes and the formulas of these other modes, so you guys can kind of see how they're built and what's going on inside of them. So the C major scale, we can actually just count it normally: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those are the notes to that chord. If you don't understand that, you may want to check the other videos that I've done right now of this music theory series, where I've talked about these, and I've talked about why I see them in numbers and why I'm talking about them in numbers. So the C major scale, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's what we're going to call those notes right now. So that's the major scale formula if looked at as numbers. So now let's see what's going on in the D minor. In this case, it would be the D Dorian. So let's see what starts to happen when we play the C major scale starting from another standpoint or another root. In this case, we're going to play the C major scale starting from D. Let's see what's going on with those intervals in relation to the root, which would be the D. So let's play the C major scale on top of a D, or starting from a D. As you can see, it doesn't sound like a major scale anymore, and it's because the whole composition of that is changing. So if we look at it from what these notes are for the root, we're going to see that we have a 1, we have a 2nd, then we have a minor 3rd, then we have a 4th, a 5th, a major 6, and then we have a minor 7th and a perfect octave. So that's kind of the essence of what builds the Dorian sound, that major 6 clashing with the whole minor scale. So this is actually a little bit different from what I talked about earlier with the chords. This one is actually going to sound Dorian if you play it over the minor chord, or if you want to add that really apparent Dorian sound, you could play this chord right here, which kind of gives you that kind of sonority to that. Something that you can do to understand these a whole lot better is actually build the chords on your own, and just with every scale that you learn, try to build the harmony on top of that and try to build what's going on and the chords that come out of that. So now let's go to the next scale, which should be the E Phrygian, which I'm going to play now. It's every note natural as well. So let's see what's going on in that scale. So we have the 1, a flat 2 or a flat 9, we have a flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then the 8. Now let's see what's going on in the F if we played every note natural. So as you can see, if we play all of those notes natural, we get 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So what's different from that scale to the major scale is that we get that sharp 4th or that augmented 4th. That's kind of the Lydian sound, which I already showed you guys earlier. You know what time it is? It's time for the trivia answer. Let's talk about what chord I already played. And that chord is a C major 7 drop 2 first inversion. So what's going on here is that we're playing the E here in the 5th string, which would be the 3rd note of the chord. We're playing the B over here with the pinky in the 4th string in the 9th fret, which would be the major 7th. We're playing the C over here in the 5th fret with the 1st finger in the 3rd string, which would be the tonic or the root note. And then we're playing the G over here with the 3rd finger in the 2nd string in the 8th fret, which would be the G or the 5th note of the chord. And that's what we get. So yeah, let me know if you got that right, and I'll see you on the rest of the video. Of course, as you can see, we're playing a B natural, and in the F major scale, we're supposed to have a B flat, which is the 4th note of that scale. And we have a B natural, which would be the sharp 4th, and that's what builds up the F Lydian. So now let's see what's going on if we play every note natural with the G. So as you can see, we're getting that mixed Lydian sound or that dominant sound, which we all know and love. And we can play a chord like, or, which is one of the first chords that we all learn. So that's what's going on there. We're actually changing the F sharp, which would be the major 7th in that G or in the G major, and we're actually playing it natural, which would be the flat 7. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and then the octave. So that's what's going on there, and that's the mixed Lydian sound that we all know and love. And like I already mentioned, you can actually look for the extensions inside of that chord and see what works to that specific scale and to that specific sound. So to those that are a little bit more advanced on all of this and want to harmonize that a little bit better, you can actually look for the extensions inside of that scale, in that mixed Lydian scale, and see what kind of ninths you can get in there and what kind of other sounds you can get and add to that dominant chord. So now let's move on to the A and play every note natural as well and see what's going on there. So A, so we're getting a 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 8, which is a minor scale, which we all know and love, and we would play in A minor. So that's actually the relative minor to the D major, which I'm gonna go on in video. And now let's see the last mode, which would be the Locrian, which we would start playing from the B. So we have a 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 8. And that kind of scale is actually a little bit more picky to use in a context, as you would have to find a chord that's actually fitting a 7th chord function to use that over. So yeah, which would be the minor 7 flat 5, and a lot of times we're going to see a minor 7 flat 5 chord functioning as a 2 to a minor 2 5 1 progression. So that's what I mean by it being a little bit more picky to use. And that's actually the 7 modes off of the major scales. Hopefully you guys found it helpful, and hopefully you guys can actually use it on your own and see a little bit better how they work and what's going on between them. And yeah, that's basically it. That's all there is to the modes. Of course, I'm going to be talking a little bit more in depth on each of them later on, so you guys can actually see and grasp it a little bit better. And I'm going to be talking about the harmony and all of those things. So make sure to subscribe down below, like and comment what you guys thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I had not noticed that the light actually went off the aperture that I told you about the other video. I haven't actually charged that since I came here and since the last time that I recorded that video, which should be around 2 weeks ago. Wow, that as you can see, that's a really good battery life. I'm really impressed with that.